on the A1M near Peterborough, en route to Festival Italia. So in the last video you saw us at the Hub Nut Social, which was earlier on today, so we're a bit late setting off. It's now nearly 8 PM and we're about halfway there. We've done just over 100 miles, averaged about 44 to gallon, but we have got a roof box on, so otherwise it would have been about 50. So we'll pick this up again in the morning from Brands Hatch. So welcome back to mk1 Motoring. Today we're at Festival Italia. I'm on the, there's my car on the Fiat 500 Owners Club UK stand. But there's a lot of interesting cars here to see today. A lot of very, very interesting cars. So we'll start off, I think we'll go around this way. So we start on the Fiat Individuals stand. So this is people displaying individually rather than as a club. So we've got this lovely Multijet Panda Sporting, Mark II Punto Sporting. That'll be the facelift one, I believe. Looking at the back of that. Punto Evo, Grande Punto, another Punto Evo. Of course we've got some 124s. We've got this lovely old 500, this yellow one. The car that really caught my eye this morning though coming in was this 126. Now I do quite like 126s. I had an aunt that had one of these. But she had two. She had a chocolate brown one, which was like this one, one of the air-cooled ones. So these are actually a saloon rather than a hatchback. And behind those louvers there, you've got an air-cooled two-cylinder engine. So they are very similar to the 500, but which it replaced. But admittedly, I'd say the 126 not only is boxier, it does look a little bit bigger as well. So we've got a suffix M registration. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head what year that is, but I would think 1970s probably, looking at this. And I must say it really does look in fantastic condition, does this car, and a very, very 70s looking colour as well. But yeah, my auntie had one of these. She also had the later 126 Biz, which was a hatchback and was water cooled. But I would expect these earlier ones are the more collectible. But even 126 Bizzes seem to be gaining popularity now. Again, we've got another 124. We've got new and old. So which one do you prefer? Drop me a comment below. I strongly suspect we're going to get a lot of love for these old ones. It's really, really nice. Now we've got a Fiat Coupe Club stand here as well, but we've also got cars like this one on the individual stand. Again, 90s is my era and I am a big fan of the Fiat Coupe. This one is obviously a 20 valve turbo as well, which I mean, it's probably even one of the more sought after models. I thought, if that's a bit modern, what about this Fiat 850? And another stunning design. There's some of these really old Italian designs are really do stand out. What about a Fiat Dino? And I actually saw one of these that had, I can't remember if it had come up at auction or something a few years ago. Couldn't believe how expensive these are now. Absolutely beautiful. So we've got the nice Bertone design badge there. Fiat Dino, named like the Ferrari Dino. I believe both use the same V6 engine as far as I'm aware. But again, perhaps if you know a little bit more than I do about that, let me know. Yeah, Dino 2400 Coupe. So we've got the Italian job there, which I do remember seeing these cars in that film, which, as I may have mentioned before, is my all-time favourite film. We've got another Nouveau, New 500 as it is called. This is a very early one. There's actually one of these on our stand as well. Tell it's an early one because the vinyl roof actually goes back all the way. Now this wasn't for decadence, this was to save on, basically on sheet metal. Post-war, certain things were either unavailable or expensive. And it's also got these suicide doors, which you can see by the hinges at the back and the handles up at the front. I really like the colour of this one as well, and the wheels are even colour coded to the car. This one being a coupe model, as opposed to the one we saw earlier, the red one, which was a convertible. Another Nouveau 500, but this one being the 500L or Lusso. These were much later models. See, we've got the overriders here, white wall tyres as well. So as you can see, the roof, there's a lot more metal and a lot less fabric. There were interior changes as well, so that speedometer is different in here. Generally, I think these cars were, well, if you can really call it, luxurious or refined, but probably much more so than those very, very early cars, but not necessarily more desirable today. Now, a car I've really, really wanted to own for quite a while is the Fiat X19. It's, many of you may know the Toyota MR2. Well, before the Toyota MR2, we had the Fiat X19. It's Italian, it's mid-engined, but it's a lot cheaper than a Ferrari. I think they had 1300 or 1500 engines generally, and some were badged as Bertoni, some were badged as Fiats. Now these cars, well that's a couple of D registrations, so 86, 87. This one is an earlier registration. We've got a chrome bumper on there. I'm going to take a look around the front because I know on some of the later cars they've got the big bumpers. This one looks to be a big bumper car as well. I do actually quite like the earlier ones with the split, smaller front bumpers, but either way, nonetheless, they're absolutely stunning cars. And they have a Targa roof as well. So this roof panel can actually be removed, giving you the convertible experience, and stowed under the bonnet. So under this black cover here is where the engine lies, and then we've got another boot, the proper boot at the back, and what is often known as the fruit or front boot up here. And of course we can't forget there's pop-up lights, because everything's cooler with pop-up headlamps. I love that font as well, that's really 80s, that red on black. And we've got a red leather interior to match as well. Yep, and both of these cars actually badged Bertonis. The first one badged as a Fiat. So I couldn't really tell you the reason why, or if they had a different production run. I'm no X19 expert, as much as I do like the cars. We've got another Punto Evo. We've got a Mark 1 Punto. It's rather nice blue, and it's a GT as well. Obviously those wheels are not factory, they look like Dale Tony's. They do suit the car well though. So yep, we've got our GT. And probably can't see very well with the reflection of the glass, but yeah, the Mark 1 Punto. Very, very rare sight now as a Mark 1 Punto. So I expect that is a genuine, a normal plate rather than a private registration. So an M registration, probably somewhere around 94, 95. Yeah, I had a relative who had one of those as well, but only a 55S. Fiat Seicento. Oh, and this is interesting. what appears to be a Fiat 500, but badged a Fiat 750. And with an engine too big for the car by the look of it. If there's ever such a thing. That is incredibly cool. Got another classic 500. An Auto Bianchi at Bath. Yeah, another car you don't often see on the streets these days. I think the last one I saw was in possibly in an old Gran Turismo. So a Cinquecento Sporting. These are getting quite sought after now as well. I often actually think the craze for these small cars has probably been aided by the in-betweeners. I think that one might have been a Cicento in that one. But yeah, they do seem to be gaining popularity again. So, Uno Turbo IE. Again, a car that is very, very much of my era. Personally, at this era I was probably more into the French stuff, so your 205 GTIs, Renault 5 GT Turbo, so my knowledge of the Uno is somewhat limited, but again, definitely a car earning of its place in history. And the Uno probably marking a big step up for Fiat over some of the previous offerings as well. We've got some more 500s. We've got badge to 695 a Bath SA. And a 595. Quite a few of these here this year. We only had a couple last year, but this year we do seem to have a much better turnout. Oh, look at that upholstery. Oh, and I love those blue gauges as well. Really, really special. And so compact, but it must be an absolute hoot. Sadly, we are missing a car that was here a bit earlier. There was another one with no roof on, which is quite interesting. Oh, and look at this. Yeah, definitely do me one of those. And we're getting distracted again, so we'll pick this up and move it on. So, got some more Fiat Puntos. The Grande and Evo models. Mark II Punto. These are the facelift ones with the larger headlamps. The Punto Active. So yeah, I remember these. I remember the Active and Sporting. Around that sort of era, a few manufacturers were doing sort of slightly sportier looking models that were still affordable and insurable. So Fiat Barchettas, which I believe are Punto derived now. We've got quite a lot of these here today, and obviously a lot of younger people attending and may have never seen these. Someone actually asked me, why are they all left-hand drive? Well, the reason they're all left-hand drive is because Fiat only made them in left-hand drive. So we've got obviously pre and post facelift design as well. I think I like the pre-facelifts myself, but yeah, both still nice looking cars. But what's your preference? Let me know below. But yeah, these cars were all left-hand drive, but they were sold in the UK. But with this lovely coach-built bodywork. Really, really, really nice cars. But yeah, actually front-wheel drive as well. Front-engine front-wheel drive. As I say, I believe they may well be Punto derived. But supposedly they still drive actually quite well for a front-wheel drive car with the roof cut off. So we've got the Fiat Coupe Club here, and what a selection we've got. So I actually do remember sort of the reds, the yellows. You don't often see such as this green, but that's actually a really nice combination. A colour I wouldn't normally go for, but I think if you get the bright colours, it's a really sporty looking car. But if you get something like this green or the dark blue or the dark red, it actually transforms the look. This is actually a lowly 16 valve NA by the look of it, but nonetheless still a really unique, interesting car. Obviously the 20 valve turbos and the LEs are the ones that tend to really grab people's attention, but sadly this one's a cloth interior. Actually, I think that would look really good with the beige leather interior in those darker colours. Here's the dark blue again. I just think it transforms the car from sort of brightly coloured sports coupe to almost more of a GT. But the styling on these cars when they was first released was well, somewhat controversial with those side swipes. And I remember seeing them at the motor show, would it have been about 94, 95? And I didn't initially like the look of them myself, but a few decades on I think they look fantastic, and it's another car I would actually quite like to own, but prices seem to be on the up. So we've got the Panda owners, Fiat Panda UK, and we've got a few 100 horsepower Pandas here. We've got this fantastic looking Martini one as well, and a car that I do recognise because this one on the end belongs to Mr. Jake Bills of the Wolves Wheels channel. Hello. So, yep, Jake is on the next stand to us today in his Panda, and hopefully at some point I'll be getting a video on this car. So, for regular viewers, Jake has the Megane Classic that we featured quite recently on the channel. So we're at Festival Italia, where we've stumbled across these two fabulous Mark 1 Fiat Bravos. This one in front of me actually is a HGT, which uses the 20 valve, the normally aspirated version of the 5-cylinder engine as used in the Fiat Coupe. The owner has actually agreed to have a chat with us about this one, so when he comes back shortly he's going to tell us a little bit about the history of this car. It's not the only one that's here though. We've got another Bravo here as well. This one's a special edition Trofeo. It uses a 1.6 litre 100 horsepower 16 valve engine, and incredibly rare car. In fact, the owner of this one suggested there may only be about 3 of these left in the UK now as well. So really interesting to see these here today. Obviously when the Bravo launched, I remember in the 90s, it was a 3-door Bravo or the 5-door fastback Brava, which looked the same from the front, had the same interior with that pop-up door for the cassette, but the back end was different. So the 3-door ones, behind these sort of rear haunches, we got the these tail lamps with these sort of circular design lights in. The 5-door versions were, as I say, a fastback design, and they had tail lights that were sort of, I think it had about 3 small lamps on either side, so slightly different but based around the same principle. There was also the Fiat Marea Saloon and Fiat Marea Weekend Estate, which again, from the front end, the cars were nigh on identical. So I'm here with Carlos, the owner of this fantastic Mark 1 Fiat Bravo HGT, and he's been telling me a little bit about the history of the car. So you say this was a one-owner car before you bought it?
Original one-owner car, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And how long have you had this one?
I've had it now for 2 years.
2 years?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. So you were telling me earlier a little bit about this car was involved in an accident in Italy.
Yeah, so basically a tree fell down on it. The factory took pity on the original owner and they repaired it for free.
Yeah, and you said the damage was quite extensive.
Yeah.
This A-pillar in the roof you were mentioning.
So basically it's had, from the A-pillar upwards, it's been all been replaced.
Yeah.
And you can see where all the paint's faded, where they had to repaint it all.
Yeah. So something else interesting about this car, you're saying it's not a UK specification either.
No, it's a completely Italian spec car.
Yeah.
You can see with the extras on the inside. And the original mats from the Italian cars as well.
Yeah. So you're saying against things like the white dials.
Cars.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. That's brilliant. Well, thanks very much for letting us have a look round. It's really nice to see one of these out in the wild. I can't remember the last time I saw one. And being a family member had one of the lowly spec models as well. It's really nice to see one of these out again. So thank you very much.
All right.
So we had a look at the Uno earlier. The largest stablemate is the Fiat Tipo. I wonder, has this one got? It's got the analog gauges. Oh, even you probably can't see with the reflection on the glass here, but we've got analog gauges, and then we've got some sub gauges in the middle. I think they did these with some digidashes as well, but I could be wrong. I do like these because they actually do look a lot like an Uno, but being sort of longer and wider, it does give it a sort of sportier stance. And we've got this Alfa 156. Quite often they say have a look in the car park at events. Something that's really caught my eye earlier on was this Ferrari 348 TS. Now a friend of mine actually had a 348 TB, in fact he had a couple of these, one of which was a left-hand drive car but in very good condition. Now a lot of people sort of slate these, but I really like them. Obviously you've got that curvy styling, but you still retain that Testarossa style side grills and the rear light bar with these grills on as well. Technically, yes, the 355 probably is superior. It's a much more advanced car with a 6-speed gearbox and 5 valves per cylinder, and probably a lot of other major advancements too, but I just really like the styling of these. Obviously this one's got a beige leather interior as well. Some nice red carpet mats, but yeah, really like these. And obviously this one's a TS. Looks like we've got the removable top as well. So, which I always thought they were the GTS. But yeah, really nice car. So let's have a quick look around this paddock area, just outside the track. So obviously there's a lot of motorsport on here today as well. So with some interesting vehicles hidden around here. So there will be some more racing on again a bit later, and later in the day we should also be doing a parade lap. Well, last year I didn't actually make it down here to the paddock. So you've got these Alfas which must be competing in the I think there's some Ferrari racing, there's some Alfa, but I haven't actually had a proper look at the schedule to see what's on today. But obviously we've got teams busy hard at work preparing vehicles between races. So these lads have just come off. Looks like we could have timed our visit to the paddock quite well by the look of this. I mean, some of these cars are desirable classics in their own right. The kind of thing you could sit in your garage and only bring out to show. But these cars actually still go out and compete on track, which is fantastic to see them in that environment. And things like these early Spiders are really desirable and probably quite expensive now. Yeah, a lot going on here. Oh, now I didn't expect to see one of these in the paddock. Most certainly did not. That is an Alfa Romeo Montreal. And prior to last year's show, I'd never seen one of these, other than in a book. And this one looks in absolutely stunning condition. That is absolutely beautiful. The size of those gauge clusters. Well, that was worth the trip down here just for this. And if that weren't enough, then we've still got all this as well. So if you're watching this before the watershed, I do apologise showing material like this. If you've got children who are young, cover their eyes. Look, a Mark II pre-facelift Punto. So there are some left. Is this just packed in front of the trailer, or has that actually pulled a race car here today? That is quite a piece of machinery. A left-hand drive as well. Oh no, it's actually hitched up. Yep, the Fiat 130 has pulled this car trailer. Now that must have been quite a scene coming down the road this morning. Bravo. Before we get too excited and miss everything else, we're going to head out of the paddock now